Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking about a tactic that is critical to a firm's success in being able to scale and grow you as the owner out of the business. And this is the organization structure or chart. I really see a lot of firm owners struggling with this when you are $500 to $1 million in income. You only have a team around you, so they're really a support act around you. But when you're trying to build a business and a structure that can grow from $1 to $5 million in revenue and beyond, it's around having the right divisions and structure in place to be able to scale your business. The key part with this is looking at what are those different divisions. So there's a sales and marketing division, which we'll talk a little bit more about and what the roles are in that. There's the operations of the business, which is really around the client experience and the client service. And this is a key part that a lot of accounting firms have this within their accounting and professional team or the delivery team's function. So we'll talk and go into that in a lot more detail throughout today's episode as well. The third area is the delivery, which is where all of the accountants, bookkeepers, auditors, all the professional team members that are actually doing the work sit under that structure. So when we look at the delivery side of the business, what we want to have is the owners of the firm are not involved in any of these three divisions. The owners of the firm should sit above this and either be the CEO or not involved in the day-to-day. Unless you really love the technical work, you shouldn't be involved in doing any of it. And we talk about that a lot in our Accountants Leverage Ladder, so you can look at that video or podcast that we have on our channels that talks a lot about that in depth. But when we're looking at the delivery side of your organization chart, we're having a client account manager that manages the client relationships. You've then got your senior who manages the accounting team or the bookkeeping team, and they are ultimately responsible for the reviewing of all the work, the quality of the work that the team do, and also the training of the team. Your client account manager, their role is 100% relationships with the clients and overseeing and driving through the senior account manager. And this is where a lot of firms get the structure wrong. So we're really looking at building out pods or teams underneath the delivery system. So if you've got bookkeeping services as well as accounting services and different specialized services, ultimately, what we want to do is have specialist pods that run these, and really that's a senior accountant with a team underneath that. We've then got all of that rolling up into client account managers, and the client account manager can manage a portfolio of clients up to about $1.5 million worth of fees. Again, it depends on how many clients you have, the average revenue per client. But if we're looking at the delivery side of it, what we really want is this is the engine of the business where the fulfillment and the work gets done. The only person interacting with clients is the client account manager, which is why their role is 100% focused on client relationships and not doing the work. When we look at the operational side of it, this is where all transactional administration and relationships with the client run through. And this is where the biggest shift for being a firm owner of 500 to $1 million in revenue, to make that shift from $1 to $5 million in revenue, you need to have this new department. This new department is really the administration team. It should be a ratio of 30 to 40% of your team, meaning 3 to 4 admin to every 10 team members in total. So 6 accountants, 4 admin. The admin's team responsibility and accountability is to do everything pre-accounting and post-accounting, meaning there's a 20-step workflow that we've mapped out, which highlights the steps that are from when a client drops the work through to you or starts the work right through to the completion of the job. The accountant is only involved in about 25 to 30% of these tasks. The rest of it is done by the client experience team, and the client experience team is your administration team. So there's a few key roles within this department that are absolute critical to the success of scaling and growing your firm. The first one is the workflow manager. This is the sole responsibility of all workflow in and out of the business goes through this role. So that is one of the fundamental critical roles. They are really a project manager, managing every single job, making sure that all of the information from the client is received before the work gets allocated to the fulfillment team. So when we're looking at that role, it is an absolute critical role that we have the right person within it. The other admin roles within the business are really client service, following up information from the client. If clients have general day-to-day queries on anything, it does not go through to the accounting team or the bookkeeping team. It goes through to the client service team. So setting up the process and systems for them to enable them to receive every email that comes into the firm. Your accountants and bookkeepers should not have direct contact with clients unless they're giving advice or brought into the relationship with the client account manager. So the admin team is fundamental, but what we see is when firms absolutely get this strategy right and they get the right people in those roles, it takes away all the noise and all the administration burden from the professional team, so that the professional team, being the accountants, bookkeepers, auditors, can just do the work that they're trained to do and they actually love to do, which is the technical work that requires them to do it, not the administration or the client service work. Now, you may have some of your accountants or bookkeepers that are great with people and don't want to become a client account manager or don't have those skills, and they may actually fit within the traditional admin team. So it's really about the right person doing the right role and ultimately adding the right value to clients. So they're the two real key divisions that really matter. In the operations division, we also have things like HR and recruitment. We also have things like all of the operational components of running your business. So the financing, the finance side of it, the invoicing, all of the day-to-day operations really should sit under a head of operations role. And that role will be responsible and accountable for finance, HR, recruitment, anything people related, and then all of the administration and client experience / client service roles that sit underneath that portfolio is what I generally call it. So we've got the delivery team, which is the professional team doing the professional work. We've got the operational team, and then you've got your sales and marketing that fit within that banner. Now, over time, you may not have those roles now, but as you're scaling to $2 to $5 million, you're definitely going to need a sales team if you're growing at a rate of greater than 10% per year, which I would say most firms should be targeting that. So if you do, then having a sales team in place and having a marketing function to be able to generate leads for the sales team to be able to convert. What I've found interviewing hundreds of firm owners that are over the 7-figure mark is that all firms that are scaling fast or growing really at a rate that is over 10%, with 10 to 20%, have a specific onboarding team that are dedicated to onboarding new clients. So they separate within the delivery team the team members that do the work once a client is a business as usual client, and then they have a specific team that are only responsible for bringing on new clients. It's a very different type of work. It's cleaning up, I suppose, the work of the past, identifying things that need to be done and fixed, and then handing that over to the business as usual team once it's up and running. So that is really in the delivery side, you've got the two functions. You've got the business as usual, you've got the onboarding, and then we've got that organization structure. So what this ultimately has is you have leaders of each of those different functions. So as you continue to grow and scale, you are not that person. And you may be thinking, but well, I still have client relationships at the moment, so I'm still acting in that client account manager role. How can I even step out of that? And that is really where our 5 steps of the accountant's leverage ladder. If you have not watched that, go into our content below and you'll be able to see that. And we'll put a link so that you can watch that content. But that is really where you transition out of doing the work to leading the firm. And this transition should be happening when you're hitting that 1.5 million revenue. You need to be making certain that you are no longer involved in any of the client delivery work, meaning the actual tax work or reviewing of work, along with the day-to-day client relationships. The ultimate ideal organization structure is as you continue to scale and grow, you're no longer involved in the day-to-day operations. The head of departments are taking those functions on and reporting to you as the CEO or the leader of the business. Now, in my business, I didn't like the operational component. I don't like leading the business. So I specifically ensured that I was not the general manager or the CEO of our business, because that's not the role where my greatest skills are. So I scaled myself out of that and had a leader running my firm. And then I did the bits in the firm that I actually enjoyed doing, which was the high-level advice, the high-touch client relationship, but it was only for a limited amount of time. And then I was all about getting on stages, marketing, sales, getting out there and trying to promote and grow our business and our brand, and ultimately the vision and where we're going as a firm. So it depends on where you see yourself within the ideal organization structure and what you enjoy doing the most. And this is something that I teach all of our coaching clients is you need to figure out and understand what you love the most about the business that you're in. What are the key rocks or the key things that you love turning up to work every day, you're inspired to do? It doesn't feel like work. You could work, every day and every night on this because it's the part of the business that you absolutely love. For me, it's helping to promote the brand. It's educating our clients. It's things like podcasts, webinars, speaking on stages, YouTube videos. Content for me is the thing that lights me up. I couldn't think of anything worse than being involved in day-to-day operations, but for others, they absolutely love that. So identifying what are the 3 core areas of your business that you love doing. For me, it's content, it's strategy, and it's mentoring. So they're my 3 big rocks that my whole diary is focused on, and I've been able to build businesses and organizations so that when I'm looking at how do I scale them, I know exactly where I fit into it. And in some cases, I want to scale myself out of the businesses, which I've been able to do successfully, but still own them. So the key thing for you while you're thinking around this organization chart of having these 3 key departments, the operational component, the delivery side of it, and then the sales and marketing is, where do you see yourself? Are you the CEO that those 3 leaders or more leaders are reporting to? Or do you see yourself as not being in those at all? And it could be you just want to play a part in the sales and marketing, but you don't want to run that function. That is the key message as a firm owner that we need to realize is, where are our superpowers? Where do we really love to spend our time, and where should we be spending our time to maximize the value and the return to the business? So this is not what you would hear as a traditional organization structure or chart, but if you're wanting to scale your business from $1 to $5 million, these are the departments and the transition that you're going to need to make over time. Now, as soon as you hit the $1 million mark, you're not going to have department heads. You're not going to have this fully built out. But over the journey of the next couple of years, as you continue to grow and scale, you will ultimately need to move to this if you want to scale yourself out of it. Otherwise, all you are doing is scaling the business and scaling the amount of work that you have to do for the business to continue to operate. If you can't go away for more than a month and the business operates as well or better than when you're in it, then you've just built a larger team. You have not built a business. And that is why building this organization structure is so critical to the success of scaling you out of the business and out of the dependency, so that you can really grow a business that you're proud to lead and one that truly doesn't rely on you. And the biggest way that we ultimately keep a scorecard of this is, how much profit are you making per hour that you work in the business? And obviously we want to be getting that up to $500 to $1,000 plus for the time that you put into the business as an accounting firm owner. So these are the tactics and tips around building the ideal org structure for a 7-figure plus accounting firm. If you want more information on any of the strategies that we've covered today, make sure you check out other podcast episodes or our YouTube channel, where you can find all of these strategies, tactics, and tools to be able to implement within your firm.